Welcome once again to WoW Basic Training. This is a video about bear tanking, and let me tell you, it's complicated, so let's get right to it. Okay, it all starts with your talents, with Mastery, Savage Defender. This applies a bubble to your tank. It's just like the bubble that a disc priest puts on you, where you put the bubble up. Let's say it's for 15,000. Someone hits you for 5,000. You still have 10,000 of it left. At least that's the impression I've gotten so far. This is what my testing has kind of shown. I haven't, when you're in the thick of a fight, you don't really have a chance to see how much is being absorbed and how much is left. When you have all this stuff going on. I believe this is how it works. It wouldn't make much sense if it didn't work this way. So anyway, basically increases the damage absorbed by your Savage Defense ability by 65%. Well, what is the Savage Defense ability? That is when each time you deal a non-periodic, that means a non-bleed effect, not a dot. Like if you swipe 10 mobs, you're going to hit directly 10 mobs, and each mob has a chance to be crit, and 50% of those crits will cause Savage Defense to proc. That kind of thing. If you thrash, the initial thrash will actually hit, and you have a chance to crit, and when you crit, you have a 50% chance to get a Savage Defense proc. The bleed that results from the thrash does not count. Neither does the bleed from Lacerate. So, Mangle, Maul, the initial hit from Thrash, Swipe, all of those things work. Now, notice it doesn't say using bear abilities. You can even critically hit with Fairy Fire. And I guess I didn't right there, but and it should proc as well with that. Any damage dealing ability that you do in bear form that is not a dot will cause this to proc. And you'll notice, you see this up here? That is my Savage Defense, and it's going to absorb 6117 physical damage. Now you're looking at this and saying, but 6117 physical damage, that seems like really, really low. Well, the reason for that is because of Vengeance not being stacked while I'm sitting here on the training dummy. Vengeance gives me basically the ability to take on 10% or build up 10% of my total health in the form of attack power. So I have total health of 128,957. That means I could have an additional amount of attack power of 12,896 attack power, added on to my attack power that's already there of 10,554, and I would have a nice huge amount of attack power. In fact, I'd have more attack power from Vengeance than I have from my agility. So what does this mean? Does this mean I need to stack stamina? Does it mean I need to stack mastery to increase my Savage Defense totals? Does it mean I need to stack agility to get that base attack power up? What it basically means is that you need to stack agility as much as possible, and as far as the green secondary stats, you need to have crit and mastery. You need to have crit so you have more chances to proc your Savage Defense, and then when you do have Savage Defense, you want it to be nice and big. Now, to show all of this, basically, I had to do this nifty spreadsheet. Now, as you can see, my base Savage Defense is 35%. And in fact, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you guys can see a little bit closer. Okay, 35% base, and actually I don't care about this right now. I can get rid of that. Okay, so let's take a look at some stuff here. If I have Mastery Food and a Mastery Flask, my health is 135,061. My crit percent is 32.64%, which means I will proc Savage Defense 16.32% of my attacks. My mastery is 18.6. That's my mastery number. So times 4 is going to be 72.64, which means 72.64% bonus to my to the actual 35%. Now this is multiplicative. Basically, if you'll notice, okay, I have my base attack power as 11,066. So my absorb, and this is in a very complicated formula here, basically you have to take your attack power times the 35%. Alright? That base savage defense. You take that attack power times the 35%. In fact, let's just do that. Equals this times that, right? Oh, wait. Plus this divided by that. No. Let's just do this. It's late. I've been up all night doing this. Plus this times 0.35. There. Oh, that's why. Okay, there we go. 3,873. That is my base absorb based on my attack power. My actual absorb is this times my mastery percent. So if I take this times my mastery percent, that is the additional amount. It's an increase of the actual bubble that starts from this mastery. So this mastery creates a bubble that is 35%. Or Savage Defense creates a 35% bubble from my attack power. Then that shield is then modified by the mastery percent itself. It's not an additional 72% on top of 35%, making it like over 100%. It's not taking my attack power times 102 or something percent, all right, or 107%, whatever it happens to be. It's not adding those two percentages together, the 35 and whatever your mastery bonus happens to be. If you have 65% mastery bonus and it starts at 35%, that doesn't add up to equal 100. No, it's 35% of your attack power, and take the result of that and multiply that times the bonus mastery. It makes all the difference in the world. So what you end up with is this formula here, where it's base attack power times the 35%, and that's the one number, plus base attack power times 35% times the mastery bonus. So you add those two together, those two resulting numbers together, and you get 6686. Now, if I have full vengeance, I take my attack power plus my health divided by 10, right here. That is my full vengeance attack power, right? That means that if I take that and use that attack power as the base for my absorb, I create an absorb shield of 14,847. That's pretty freaking potent, if you ask me. All right. Now, that is with Mastery Food and Mastery Flask. If I have Agility Food and Agility Flask, my crit percent goes up, so I'm more likely to proc my Savage Defense by about 0.6%, 0.63% more. But my Mastery is lower. I'm only adding 65% of that bubble to itself. Now my base attack power is higher because my agility is higher, so my actual absorb is a little higher. My starting absorb is a little higher. But because I'm only multiplying that, or adding another 65% to that instead of 72%, the resulting full vengeance absorb is going to be lower. Just a tad. It's only 8 lower if I'm stacking agility. Now, I would consider these pretty much equivalent, except for the fact of the proc chance. I'm proccing 0.6% more often. So that actually should cause this to go up. And I started working on this, and I may actually do this while I'm recording here. White attack speed is 2.38 with my haste. My special attack speed is 1.43. That's my global cooldown, is 1.43 considering my haste. So my procs per minute is 10.98. My procs with mastery and mastery. With agility, it's 11.41. So if you wanted to, what we could do is say, okay, let's do 10-minute, or let's just do a 5-minute fight. Okay, so this times 5 and copy, paste, 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 paste. So over 5 minutes, right, I should proc Savage Defense of, 55 times here. Let's just, round that. Let's just round all of these. 55 times here and 57 times here. So let's actually take that and multiply it times our absorbs. Oops. Okay. So 815,000 absorbed. Let's get rid of the things there. And now let's see how much we actually absorb if we're stacking agility. So this is stacking mastery. This is stacking agility. This is an agility food mastery flask. So a little hybrid there. This is none. This is no food with a master or with an agility flask. This is agility food with no flask. Yeah, so I've done all sorts of different comparisons here. So if we go to sort and we go sort by absorb, or actually column Q here, largest to smallest, what comes out on top? Agility, agility. You actually get more by just using an agility flask and no food than by going with any combination with a mastery flask. Mastery and agility, or agility, mastery and mastery, or agility and mastery. Agility is by far, hands down, the winner. You actually will absorb more damage on average, on the whole, if you stack your agility for this kind of a thing. This is the reason why on my gear you will see, I'll just use my player score thing to illustrate this, and I'll go back out a little bit here so you can see. You'll see that on my gear I have Agile, Agility Stam for a blue socket, Agility Stam for a blue socket. You could do Agility Hit as well. I have Agility Crit. I could do Agility Mastery as well, but you want to balance your crit and your mastery up. Red sockets, pure agility. Agility Stam. I could do Agility Hit as well. Like I said, the Stam doesn't really make much of a difference because it's a percent of a percent. So if I really wanted to, I could do Agility Hit and make sure I hit more often, which gives me a chance to crit more often. And that'll proc it even more as well. So as you can see, Stam stacking, bad. You're not that kind of tank. You are a agility tank. You are not a Stam tank. And that's how you are supposed to work a druid. Stam stacking is dead, folks. Doesn't matter doesn't matter what class you're playing. Anyway, comments are welcome.